The Dodgers have claimed pitcher Yoendrys Gómez, formerly of the New York Yankees. Also, we got injury updates for Michael Kopech, the latest on Blake Snell. We've got a writer, a beat reporter from Pittsburgh joining us, Noah Hiles, to preview the Pirates versus Dodgers series, the Yamamoto versus Paul Skenes showdown. How could the Dodgers end up with Paul Skenes one day? All that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warrior Parade. We got it, Parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Starts the 50-50 club. Monkey magic. Freeman hits the ball right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you really want to support me and the channel, hit the like button for you, Los Angeles Dodgers. And also join the Discord. I'm going to be heading to the stadium shortly after this show. Going to be posting some behind-the-scenes stuff in the Discord channel, especially for the Dodgers Nation VIP access section. $6.99 a month. You get all kinds of exclusive stuff, so join that. Also, The Big Lead, my new YouTube channel, my new show, the hottest stories in sports in less than an hour. If you really want to support, go and subscribe to that. But we've got a jam-packed show. We've got a guest later. We're talking about Paul Skenes. Could the Dodgers end up with Paul Skenes one day? It's fun to think about what would have to happen and what kind of team would he be interested in signing with. I got a Pirates insider joining us in a little bit. But, of course, every episode starts with the leadoff.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
Now, the hottest story in Dodger baseball is always going to be an acquisition. And just a few hours ago, it was reported that the Dodgers have claimed right-handed pitcher Yoendrys Gómez off of waivers from the New York Yankees. So Yoendrys Gómez is a pitcher that has been in the New York Yankees organization for a long time. They signed him as an international amateur back in 2016, and things just didn't quite work out with the Yankees. He has used up all of his option years from 2021 to 2023. They did get a fourth option year in 2024 after he had Tommy John surgery. And then this season in 2025, out of options, he tossed 13 1/3 innings at the big league level for the Pinstripes. He also had a multi-inning long man relief role out of the pen for the first couple of innings in his season. He ended up going 10 innings and 6 appearances. And look, he hasn't pitched a ton of innings. He hasn't had a lot of experience, but the Yankees did add him to their 40-man roster in November of 2020. So they did try to keep him out of that Rule 5 draft. They've seen potential in him for a long time. And you look at his overall numbers and you say to yourself, wow, yes, it's a small sample size, but in 23 1/3 innings at the big league level, he has posted a 3.09 ERA. So that's a small sample size, but we know with this Dodgers organization that they're always going to take a flyer. They're going to show interest when there is talent, but they're injured. Where there's talent, but there's a small sample size. They will say, okay, you give us the raw talent, and we'll mold them into something that can help this team. And with the Dodgers, you know, they're always going to rotate guys in and out of the bullpen, in and out of the rotation. They've already used 20 pitchers this season after using 40 pitchers last season. That was a franchise record. And this guy is intriguing. I mean, you look at his overall numbers, the walk rate is high, a 12.3% walk rate, but he's also struck out 27.7% of the batters that he's faced. In his minor league innings, he's gone 148 and 2/3 innings and posted a 3.63 ERA. So, yeah, I mean, you look at where the Dodgers sit right now with their injuries. You got 12 pitchers on the injured list. Blake Snell, Blake Trinan just went. Tony Gonsolin, he's going to be back. You look at their rotation, Glasnow, Dustin May, Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki, they're intact. You're going to see guys like Landon Ack, Justin Robleski, and Bobby Miller make the occasional spot start. I do think that Ben Kasperius should be stretched out because he started his whole career. So that's something that I would entertain if I was the Dodgers. But, yeah, you get Yoendrys Gómez off of waivers. And, yeah, in the relief appearances, he's been better. I mean, in the 6 relief appearances with the Yankees this year, he's posted a 2.7 ERA in 10 innings. The walk rate has been high, though. More walks than strikeouts, 9 free passes to 5 punch-outs. Still young, just 25 years old. But, yeah, 3.09 ERA. The FIP is high at 5.47. 12 games, 19 strikeouts, and 16 walks. So, yeah, that's the issue. It is the command. And when it comes to him, since he is out of options, the Dodgers, they have to find a spot for him on the active roster once he gets to LA. So, recently, the Dodgers, they DFA'd Eddie Rosario, and you had to put on that 40-man roster. So, yeah, I mean, this is interesting. Is it something, nothing, or everything? I think it's something just because, yeah, is he going to be great? But maybe not. But look at guys like last year. You got Johan Ramirez, guys that didn't factor into the postseason, but 8 innings during the year. I mean, this year you've already had Luis Garcia pitch significant innings because of the injury. So, yeah, get to know some of these guys because will they be pitching in October? No. But will they get some run now because of injuries and because of how the Dodgers use pitchers during the season? Yeah, they do it. I mean, the Dodgers use pitchers like this in the regular season like rented cars, right? When you rent a car, you drive it as fast as you want. You don't care where you park it. You don't care if you drop some trash in it, right? I mean, you just kind of use it and then you lose it, right? Then it's over. You trade it in and it's a wrap. So, yep, there we go. We got some comments down below. What's up, Dodgers Nation? From CC, Jack42. What's up, D-Mac? What's up, Jack42? Not gonna lie, this intro is pretty good from JP. Appreciate you. Yeah, the intro always gets me hyped. Run through a brick wall always gets me hyped. Justin Lamas, can I get a shout-out? 1:26 a.m. here in France. Yes, Justin, and you can get your shout-out on the post-game show because you better stay up for Skenes versus Yamamoto. The showdown, Avery, Scanlon, D-Mac, the GOAT, right back at you. Appreciate that. Joe G, I want to bat instead of Muncy. Oh, come on now. By the way, I know that this show is jam-packed and we don't read every single one of your comments. We usually get thousands of comments every show, but they're always on the screen. Everyone always reads them, and I always read them after, and you guys are always kind of making me laugh a lot of times. Roy Estrada, 7 through 9, the lineup needs to be upgraded. 1 through 6, we are good. Just need Ohtani to start hitting. Yeah, I mean, a couple thoughts on Ohtani. I was talking to someone within the organization, and look, they're not worried about Ohtani, obviously, because all the expected numbers, they point to him absolutely being great. And I'm not worried about that. But early on, just some of the trends and some of the reasons why you haven't seen as much success from Shohei Ohtani is first pitches. Shohei Ohtani is 2 for 15 on first pitches. So there's some bad swing decisions that we didn't see last year that we're seeing this year from him. And then you're looking at the way he's looking early in games hasn't been as great. Later in games, he has an OPS over 1,000 from the 7th inning on. So, yeah, I think that Shohei, this is going to be a get-right series for him. I can't wait to see the showdown with him and Paul Skenes. That's going to be absolutely electric once again. So, look, I think this is a Dodger team that hasn't played their best baseball, but as Dave Roberts pointed out after they got swept by the Cubs, hey, this series comes at a great time because this Pirates team, they are trending in the right direction for sure as far as how they played of late. But the Dodgers, you got the Pirates, you got the Marlins. You want to take at least 2 of 3 in both series. Ideally, you sweep both series. And at the end of this, you should have the best record in baseball, and you should be on top of your division. So let's not forget that even though the Dodgers haven't been great after that 8-0 start, you're still benefiting from that hot start. So you give yourself a little cushion to go through a little slump, and they are in third place in the division. They're 16-9. They're a game back from the Padres. So I look for a big series for the Dodgers, and I think this is a golden opportunity to go on top. The Padres, they're at home this weekend facing the Rays. Rays not a great team this year, so you definitely want to make sure you're keeping pace with them. And then the Giants are hosting a Rangers team that has a winning record. They're looking to trend the right direction. So all the top NL West teams are playing at home this weekend. And look, you gotta keep pace, and I want to see that. Now, a couple updates from Dave Roberts before the game. We got an update on Blake Snell. So Dave Roberts said that Blake Snell came back to LA. He had another MRI yesterday morning, and they didn't find anything new. It didn't uncover anything new that would be problematic. It didn't get worse. It isn't something that he exacerbated by playing catch and throwing bullpens or anything like that. So they didn't find anything new, but Dave Roberts did say that the next step is likely going to be an injection for Blake Snell, and that they don't have a timeline yet for how his throwing progression is going to go. So that tells me that if you're expecting to see Blake Snell anytime soon, I would say you got to pump the brakes, because they're going to proceed with caution. He's their $182 million offseason free agent acquisition. They signed him for October. He's historically been one of the best all-time pitchers in the second half of the season. So right now it's just about getting Blake Snell healthy. It's about making sure that you don't lose him like you lost Tyler Glasnow last season. That's the number one priority. Keep Blake Snell healthy. Give him how many, 15, 20 starts, whatever it means, 10 to 15, whatever it is. You just can't rush him back. And look, it's not what you want to hear, because Blake Snell said he wanted to be a workhorse for this team, and that was his goal. But look, he's 32, not 23, like he said. It looks like they dodged a bullet, like Dave Roberts said. And I think right now that you're going to do everything you can to keep the frontline guys in this rotation as healthy as possible. And also another update on Michael Kopech. So Michael Kopech, he is continuing to ramp up. This is good news. He threw a 30-pitch bullpen session yesterday. He's going to throw another bullpen session on Monday. And then after that, he's going to progress to live at-bats, and then hopefully he'll be sent to a rehab assignment. He'll ace that rehab assignment, and then he'll be back in the Dodgers bullpen throwing 100-plus mile-per-hour heater. So some good news on the injury front for Michael Kopech. Some, I guess, good-ish injury news on the Blake Snell front, in that they didn't find anything worse that's going to require surgery or a long time stint on the IL. But I will tell you, look, they figured out this Tommy John thing, okay? With the medical advancements, they figured out Tommy John. Shoulders scare me. Shoulders scare organizations. So shoulders are worse than Tommy John's in a lot of ways right now. So that's the one you don't want to hear about. So that definitely is something that I know this organization is not going to approach lightly. They're going to make sure that the next time that Blake Snell is on the mound for the Dodgers, that he's at 100%, or at the very least, he can't make anything any worse. And I know they're going to approach it with that. And also, Will Smith is in the lineup. He said that he's feeling fine, so that's a good sign. Will Smith a little banged up on the wrist, but Will Smith is in the lineup tonight, going up against Paul Skenes. Now, before we bring in our guest today, let's drop this lineup really quick. The Dodgers lineup tonight going up against Paul Skenes. You got Shohei Ohtani batting leadoff at DH. Behind him, it's Mookie Betts at short, Freddie Freeman at first, Teoscar Hernandez in right, batting cleanup. Tommy Edman at second, batting fifth. Smitty behind the dish, batting sixth. Michael Conforto, who needs a big series, he's in left. He is batting seventh. Max Muncy, he's at third, batting eighth. And Andy Pages, who has started to see a power surge, back-to-back games with a home run, he is batting ninth. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto brings that 19-inning scoreless streak into this one, going up against Paul Skenes. But a couple comments here, then we're going to preview this Pirates series with a Pirates insider. And yes, it's fun to talk about the series, but we also got into Paul Skenes talk. How much longer will he stay with the Pirates? Will the Pirates trade him? Will they give him an extension? You won't want to miss that. But let's do some comments here before we head out. We got Court the Crusader. Thanks for the show, D-Mac, watching this and the game in Grand Junction, Colorado, my hometown. Shout out to your hometown, Grand Junction, Colorado. Grand Junction, Colorado, that's the place to be. Of course, it's a beautiful town. It's a beautiful town. And yeah, I've been there once. It's a good spot. We got True Blue Fan 23. What's up, D-Mac? Hopefully some home cooking and a good rest in their beds at home can get our boys in blue back on the beam because our road trip wasn't good. Let's go Dodgers. Yeah, I love that, man. Hey, sleeping in your own bed is the best. But I don't know about you guys. I'm big into memory foam. I got like 3-inch memory foam, high quality sheets, king size. There's some things I go cheap on, which is a lot of things. Some things I go hard on, and that is anything when it comes to bedding, mattress, whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. You guys, some people don't like memory foam. I like you, like sink into it. I don't want to hear all the negatives. I'll have Cube pay D-Mac a visit. That's from that guy 86. Hey, we got all positives today. Another reclamation project. You're talking about the Gomez acquisition. At any rate, today we trust Yam. That's from Enjoy. Let's keep it going down here. Nando, Skenes will look good in Dodger blue. I think he absolutely would. Joe G, awesome. Next to Gatorade, and also next to the Gatorade cooler. Dodgers all the way from History Man 0828. Mixie Felix says, I joke that Tommy will get 20 home runs by the break, only 12 away. Yeah, he's been an absolute power surge. Claudia 11, Dev looking forward to Kopech's return. Zen Master, Conforto, Muncy, and Pages terrify me. They need to get going. They absolutely need to get going. Michael Conforto, I said you would be an all-star. You're not making me look good. Come on. Turn it around. And then Max Muncy, hey, man, it's his longest home run drought. Hopefully, I think that guy who heckled him and maybe woke him up, and maybe we'll look at that as the guy that woke up Max Muncy. The Poison Clan, D-Mac, the voice of the people, appreciate that. You know, I try to be. David, hey, D-Mac, I got to ask the question. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff on another YouTube station that the team doesn't like Max, is not getting along with Freddie Freeman. I don't know where you heard that. I'm in that clubhouse a lot, and I can't imagine that. But I'm going to be in that clubhouse tonight. I'll give you guys an update on that after the game. So stay tuned for the post-game show. But all right, guys, so let's bring in, what a beer samba. What a bamboo fiber from Beer Samba. Jerry H. The Dodgers started the season 8-0, but they're 8-9 since. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up where the Dodgers are at right now. And they're playing 500 to under 500 baseball. But the way the schedule lines up is a perfect time to get going against a elite pitcher tonight for sure. But you drive a Benz too, right? You drive a Lambo too. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, excited for this matchup. This feels like a little heavyweight title fight for sure. So that definitely is an exciting reason to be a Dodger fan. Yamamoto versus Paul Skenes at Dodger Stadium tonight. It's going to be absolutely electric. But I'm going to bring in Noah Hiles, who covers the Pirates. He's a Pirates insider for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, one of the great newspapers in the United States. And, yeah, we talk a lot about the future of Paul Skenes. So let's get into it. Here's my man, Noah Hiles. Here we go. And here joining us to talk about the highly anticipated Dodgers-Pirates series, the showdown between Paul Skenes and Yoshinobu Yamamoto tonight at Dodger Stadium, is Noah Hiles. He covers the Pirates for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's also a big fan of Dave and Buster's. No, are you a Gold Card member? I mean, what's your favorite thing about Dave and Buster's? For me, it's the Pop Shot. Love the Pop Shot. Love the wings. I'm a big fan of Dave and Buster's myself.
Oh, I love Dave and Buster's. It's great. It's a great place to go with friends, to take your significant other out on a date. Nothing bad to say about it. If I had to pick something that's my favorite game to play there is Guitar Hero.
Nice.
But I'm a big Papa Shot guy, and actually on the Pirates Twitter, like among the fan community, they debate how good I actually am at Papa Shot. There's one particular fan who puts out these power rankings week by week. I don't know why he does it, but he always makes sure to leave me out of the top 10, which upsets me because it's not true.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's this new basketball shooting game at my local Dave & Buster's where it's like a Connect 4 thing. I don't know if you've tried that, but that thing is really, really fun. We're not going to go down the Dave & Buster's rabbit hole. It's basically Chuck E. Cheese for adults, but better. So let's get into this series. Pirates, Dodgers, and we have to start with the lead here, and that is Paul Skenes from the OC. He had that moment where he mentioned against the Angels in his start that he grew up an Angels fan, and he got to talk to Mike Trout and how that meant to him. And he said that it's going to be a zoo at Dodger Stadium. So clearly he understands the magnitude of this. But kind of the first thing just want to ask about Paul Skenes is just so far this season, you look at his numbers and he came off that start where he held the Guardians at 2 runs in 7 innings. And then after that, I mean, he gave up some runs against the Cardinals, but really for the most part this season, he's been really, really good. The strikeout rate has been a little lower from 33.1% to 25.4%. But what do you make of Paul Skenes early on this season and how good he's been?
I think he's been good. I think the early takeaway for me is he is trying to transition into being something a little bit less of a power pitcher so he can go deeper into ball games. That was his one big goal heading into spring training that he told me was that he wanted to be more efficient. He wanted to pitch past the 7th inning into the 8th or potentially into the 9th, just about every time this team gives him the baseball. And I think he's capable of doing that. But the challenge with that is, strikeouts typically mean a lot of pitches, and he can strike a lot of batters out. But as we've seen through his rookie year, when he has a high strikeout total, that often means he's hitting that 100 pitch mark after 6 frames. He wants to hit that mark into the 7th or 8th inning. And then once he's rolling, then he hopes that he can keep it going, even if he gets past that 100 pitch mark. So because of that, I think he's made the adjustment to try to pitch to a little bit more contact. And that's led to some challenges where it's trying to spot his pitches in the right place where it'll get soft contact that will go on the ground or just a weak fly ball. Sometimes he left it a little bit too much over the plate or didn't hit the zone, and that led to a walk or some hard contact. But overall, I mean, this is Paul Skenes we're talking about. He's been really good. He's up for any challenge. He had one bad outing against the Cardinals, like you mentioned. But aside from that, I mean, the guy's been the same player he's really been since he debuted last May.
Yeah, 3 earned runs in his last 13 innings of work. Opponents hitting 186 off him, OPSing 495. So still dominant, still extremely effective. I want to go back, though, and talk about his bobblehead night. Felt like kind of a weird day. You had that long line on the Clemente Bridge, and then he gets the bobblehead. Everyone lined up for it. And after that, he just kind of wasn't responsive towards kind of the questions. Look, I've been in clubhouses, too, after bobblehead nights. And after loss, you don't really want to talk about your bobblehead. You want to talk about kind of getting out of there and you're frustrated by the loss, but just kind of how do you think he's handled almost this Paul Skenes mania that we've seen in Pittsburgh so far?
I think he's handled it as well as he could possibly handle it. You got to remember that 3 years ago, no one knew who this guy was unless you were a fan of Mountain West College baseball. Yeah. He was a two-way player at the Air Force Academy. He was more concerned with flying fighter jets and joining the military as opposed to playing Major League Baseball. And he got some encouragement from his coaches to go to LSU, and the rest is history. But I mean, for most of this guy's life, he was kind of a nobody. I mean, he was always talented, but he wasn't this high-ranked high school prospect that was getting interviewed all the time. He wasn't this college star for 2 of his 3 seasons in college where you were hearing about him on ESPN a ton. He just kind of came out of nowhere when he was at LSU, and then he starts dating maybe the biggest branded social or biggest branded college athlete in the social media era, and his social stock takes off. And he's kind of an introverted guy. Takes a little bit of time to really show his personality. So I think that was a challenge for him. This is a guy who really just wants to play baseball. That's one of his only interests, quite frankly. And when all of this is being thrown at him at once, becoming a household name, not only the face of a franchise, but one of the faces of the sport overnight, that was probably harder for him to deal with than actually like preparing to face Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman or whoever else steps in the batter's box. But I will give him credit. I think he handled it well. I think he wore down a little bit from it toward the second half of last year. He wasn't as accessible, except for, the handful of people who traveled with the team and saw him regularly. He always made time for us. But this year, I think we're seeing him a little bit more comfortable in his own skin. He's no longer a rookie. I think that plays a part in it, where he's comfortable being the voice of the team now, as opposed to last year. He just showed up. He didn't want to take on too much too soon. But this year, he's showing a little bit of his personality. But more importantly, I think he's voicing the importance of bringing winning baseball to Pittsburgh. I mean, this is a city that has seen 4 winning records, not playoff appearances, 4 winning records since 1992. They have not won a division title since 1992. They have not won a true postseason series since 1979. So these fans, they're starved for winning. He feels it, and he wants to win. So when things don't go well, even if he goes out and throws 7 innings of 2-run ball against a team that was, a couple of games away from winning the American League last year, he does not care about that. He's pissed. He wants to win, and he's making that clear. I don't think he's doing it in an inappropriate or unprofessional manner. He's not calling anyone out individually. He's not taking shots at ownership or the coaching staff, to which he very well could if he wanted to and get away with it. I think he's just expressing that I don't care about a bobblehead. I don't care about the big crowds. I don't care about, these accolades. It all means nothing unless we win. And right now they're just not winning, and that's bothering him.
And that's fascinating to me, just when you paint the picture of the rise of Paul Skenes from a relative unknown who went to El Toro High School in the OC, in the Air Force, goes to LSU, and then you mentioned the Livy Dunn angle, how that kind of put him on the mainstream of social media. And then the thing that takes him over the top is, the fact that he's a really, really good pitcher. Oh, wait, he might just be the best pitcher on the planet. And the term generational, the term superstar, I think it's thrown out way too lightly these days, but it applies to Paul Skenes. I mean, he is truly a superstar in every sense of the word. And you look at how that could trickle down to that Pirates organization. Well, Jeff Passan, he's had some interesting comments to make about the Pirates ownership and Bob Nutting and kind of what this means. Is Paul Skenes the kind of guy that can change the trajectory of that franchise to the point where you either try to get an extension done with him or you add more talent around him? Because if he wants to win the World Series and play on the biggest stage, you need to put more talent around him and not just trade guys off when they reach their later arbitration years and kind of be a little more aggressive in free agency and trades. But do you think that Paul Skenes alone changes the direction of the Pirates franchise and what Bob Nutting does?
That's the hope. That's what fans are praying for. This is a team that has not signed an external free agent to a multi-year deal since 2016. Think about that. We're approaching 10 years where they have not signed a multi-year free agent deal. It's just that. It's not like they're never going to spend like the Dodgers spend, or even teams similar to the Dodgers, or they're not even probably going to spend they're not going to spend in ways similar to teams of their market size. They just need to do something other than just 1-year, $4 million deals for players like Tommy Pham. That's just not going to get it done. I think the idea of an extension for this guy here is already out of the question. I don't understand why he would want to explore that option, because why limit your value right now if you're Paul Skenes? Sure, there's the security, if maybe they could buy out some years of arbitration, but based off the way things are going right now, he's probably going to make more through ARB than the Pirates would be willing to offer him regardless. So I think that's something that hasn't really been explored too much from either side, because they know it's probably not attainable for what they would want. But as far as the win now thing, yeah, that's got to happen here, because you look at it, they've got limited time until he's gone. And he's not the only good pitcher on this team. They've got Mitch Keller. They've got Jared Jones whenever he gets healthy again. Bubba Chandler is one of the best pitching prospects in baseball and will probably be with this team sometime next month. They're going to have one of the best rotations in the game not far from now. Maybe not this year, but next year, I wouldn't be out of the question to have the Pittsburgh Pirates starting rotation be among the top 5 in the sport. And what are you doing to supplement that with? What are you doing to pair that with? I mean, are you getting any sort of bats at all? Because right now, if you look at their prospect rankings, they don't really have anything on the way as far as game changers at the plate. And if you look at what they have currently up here, they have Brian Reynolds, they have O'Neal Cruz, they have a couple of average guys behind them, but nothing nearly enough to really make an impact in what is probably the weakest division in the National League, let alone the playoffs.
Yeah, we unfortunately know all about O'Neal Cruz, okay? Of course, that was one that got away from the Dodgers. But, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating that you kind of paint that scenario, because it's not just Paul Skenes. You have a talented pitching staff, and then if you don't have a lot of talent coming up through the farm system that you think can fill those holes and be impact players, well, the other way to get it is to just straight up spend in free agency and acquire talent that way. But it seems like you don't think that a 7-year, $120, $30 million extension that could buy out some arbitration years and things like that could be on the table for Paul Skenes as a possibility. So that would mean that he would be a free agent after the 2029 season. So would you anticipate, and you hate to kind of talk about this now, especially if you're a Pirates fan, but do you think that you trade him with 1 or 2 years of team control to get the maximum haul? Because you would hate to see that if you're a Pirates fan, even though it would be a historic haul for a player, especially if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And quite frankly, I mean, it's a shame that that's the reality, but I think that that's probably what would happen if Paul Skenes was on the Rays, if Paul Skenes was on the Guardian. If he was on another, even like a well-ran small market team, a player with his value, A, probably isn't signing an extension in that market, and B, you can't let them get to free agency. I mean, look at what the Soto deal did for the Nationals and the talent that it brought in for them. I was talking with other writers about this in spring training. I don't think you could trade him right now if you tried. I don't know if there's a quantifiable value that you could get based off of what he's able to do on the mound with his years of control remaining and with the little money that you would have to pay him for the remainder of his deal. I don't think there's an organization that could provide you equal value. Like, what would the Orioles have to do? Trade you like Henderson, Holiday, O'Hearn? It would make no sense for a team to do that. So you're going to have to wait until there's only 1 or 2 years left on his deal to even explore that, simply because he's the best pitcher on the planet and he's making the league minimum essentially. So it's an interesting concept. But if he does stay healthy, I mean, you would hope that they would get to the postseason a couple times in these next 3-4 years. But I think after that, yeah, regardless of where the organization stands, if you can't reach an extension with him, you have to trade him with 1 to 2 years remaining on his deal, because even if you are at a place where you're contending, the return would be franchise altering.
Yeah, that blows my mind just to hear you describe it like that. I mean, you really couldn't put a package together right now. I remember one time I was at the Louvre in Paris, and I always ask how much everything is. Like, I'll just go to even if it's real, like, how much does that cost? How much is that worth? I was like, how much is the Mona Lisa worth? And he's like, it's priceless. I'm like, wow. So he's pretty much priceless if you kind of think about it, and what you would have to give up to get him at this point. But in a couple years, I mean, a team like the Dodgers, a big market team that would look to hopefully keep him past whatever arbitration years he had left, how much team control he had left. And hey, look, it's so funny. I mean, I know that fan bases out there kind of look at the Dodgers as these spoiled little brats. Like, we get everything we want. It's always about the Dodgers and this and that. But I mean, you look at 2029. I mean, Glasnell's gone. Snell had an option year. Gonsolin may probably gone. Kershaw probably retired at that point. I mean, I don't know if you just kind of had to guess for fun, where do you think he would end up at some point? Would it be a great fit for him?
Oh man, I mean, that's something we all. It's hard to imagine what baseball looks like 2029, because I'm sure we're gonna have a much different looking CBA at that point as well.
Yeah.
So the financial structure of the sport can be entirely different by that point. But yeah, I mean, well, first things first, like, I'm not in the camp of hating the Dodgers because they actually try to win. Like, congratulations, you have an established brand. You make a lot of money through media revenue and ticket sales because you're always good, and you try to be better because of that. Like, I think you're a loser if you oppose that mentality, in my opinion, and I wish other teams would try as hard as they did, even with limited resources. But is Skenes a Dodger? I don't know. I think Skenes fits more. It might just be, especially with free agency, it might just come down to who's giving him the highest payday. But I think he's kind of a guy who might fit more in a lesser sized market, somewhere like St. Louis, which would just be devastating to Pirates fans. Somewhere like St. Louis, I think, would make sense because that's just baseball and baseball only in that town. Somewhere like the Cubs, maybe even, where it's a bigger market, but it's just a rich baseball history with, you know, not as much proven talent around him. I don't know. Part of me thinks that Paul doesn't want to necessarily go to just the best overall team, although he did that in college and it worked pretty well. I think it's going to be money and location, maybe a team in Texas. I don't know, like the Rangers or Astros, if they're in a time period where they can sign him and he can take advantage of that no state income tax. I don't know. It's tough, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily, you know, the Dodgers, because it's just a big market and he's a low key guy. I mean, maybe Livy might have something to say about that. But I don't know if it'll be as simple as just New York or LA.
Yeah, it's all just fun. Put on your fan cap, not holding to any of this as far as prediction, but that's the first team that popped into my head for some reason was the Texas Rangers, a team that would be willing to just go to astronomical prices, $400 or $500 million. We could probably see at that point for Paul Skenes if he stays healthy and he's as good as we think he's going to be. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But hey, Southern California, you can't doubt those roots. You can't doubt those roots in SoCal. The Livy Dunn, who knows, man? She might be like a Hollywood actress by then, or have like a hit reality TV show. There could be a lot of opportunities there, but we can only dream. Thankfully, the Dodgers have a good amount of talent right now in their starting rotation. So I kind of want to shift back to this series and just kind of what is going right for the Pirates this year. I mean, you look at their offense, 25th in OPS, O'Neal Cruz having a really good year, Joey Bart, but just on the offensive side, what kind of challenges do they present to Yoshinobu Yamamoto and this Dodgers pitching staff?
So a recent development with this team that kind of got the offense going, because if you look at what the offense was doing just a couple weeks back, it was a lot worse than it looks now, is that O'Neal Cruz being moved to the top of the order has changed how this is all working. He's hit 4 home runs in 8 games at the top of the order. He's got an OPS of 1.083 entering the start of this series as a leadoff hitter. And him at the top has not only led to production from him, he's hit 3 leadoff home runs, like to start the game, 2 of them in back-to-back days. But he's also been able to impact the game in other ways. He leads baseball in stolen bases. So if you pitch around him to avoid the leadoff homer, now you have the most dangerous base runner in the sport on first base. And if he swipes second, the guys behind him, Brian Reynolds and Andrew McCutchen, don't even need a base hit to necessarily drive him in. It's just hit the ball to the right side, hit the ball to the outfield, 1-0 Pittsburgh. And that's been the case so far. His presence at the top of the order has got Brian Reynolds going, which is a huge key to this team, 2-time All-Star. And then Andrew McCutchen also going in that number 3 spot. The top third of the order at the beginning of the season was a disaster for this team, because Reynolds was slumping. They were getting nothing out of the leadoff spot, and they weren't throwing O'Neal Cruz anything to hit because there was no threat behind him in the order. But now they're able to get some run production against starting pitchers. They're able to score in the first third of a baseball game and give their starting pitching rotation a lead to work with, a very foreign concept in the first few weeks of April there. So that's been the big development. And another thing with Cruz in the leadoff spot that helps is if you look at the numbers, the most proficient hitter as far as average is concerned has been Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He bats ninth. So with Cruz batting leadoff and having a high batting average guy in the 9-hole, it still allows him to be a run creator as far as driving runs in. What they had him doing when he was batting either third or fourth, you still get that from him at the top of the order with a proficient ninth batter. So really 9 through 3 is what dictates how well the Pirates game is going to go offensively day in and day out.
Yeah, because Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in 8 of his starts this season. He looks like he's right up there with Paul Skenes as far as being an NL Cy Young favorite. Mm-hmm. But as far as the bullpen goes, I mean, top 8 bullpen in this sport, things trending in the right directions for the pen and for Pittsburgh. Noah?
I lost you after you started talking about the bullpen.
My bad. I think we're back. We're back, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, just kind of what stood out from the relievers so far this season, and are they heading into this series kind of an upward swing? You going against that Angels lineup, and I mean, this is a Dodgers team that's kind of done a lot of their damage earlier in games. And where do you kind of see this pen on this series? Yeah,
from opening day through April 5th, this team blew 4 saves. The bullpen was a huge problem, but on April 6th, they optioned. David Bednar was optioned to AAA on actually April 1st, and Colin Holderman was sidelined on the IL with a knee injury on April 6th. And since both of those guys were removed from the bullpen, because that was their standard 8th and 9th inning options, both of them, and they had both been struggling mightily. Since they moved those 2 aside, it's been one of the best bullpens in baseball. From April 6th through today, it's funny that you bring this up because I have the numbers right in front of me. They rank 2nd in the National League in walks per 9, 2.64, 3rd in the National League in WAR, 0.9, and 4th in the National League in earned run average. That's 2.79. They've got David Bednar back since then. He rejoined the team on the 19th, and I think he's been scoreless in every outing that he's had so far. I believe it's 3 total outings. Has yet to allow a run since his return, so he's looked good. They'll probably get Holderman back soon, but it's been the reshuffling of roles. Dennis Santana's taken over as their top right-handed leverage arm. This is a guy who really came out of nowhere last year. He was a waiver claim from the Yankees, and the Pirates pitching group, to their credit, reinvented this guy and made him one of the more underrated relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. Go ahead and look at his numbers since last July and compare them to any reliever you can find. They rank really well. Ryan Barucki and Caleb Ferguson have been 2 really, really productive left-handed leverage arms that they've relied on. Obviously, Dodger fans are familiar with Ferguson. You'll see a lot of him this series. They've got good results early on from Justin Lawrence. He was just sidelined yesterday on the IL with elbow inflammation, so maybe we'll see Bednar in a higher leverage role moving forward. But there are other guys too. Kyle Nicholas is a younger guy who has a lot of potential if he can find the strike zone. Joey Wentz has been very productive in a long relief role. Same for Chase Shugart, a guy that they got on waivers from the Red Sox this offseason. So they're going to move and mix and match guys in different spots. They don't have a defined closer right now. They don't have a defined setup man, but they really like the matchups they can get with the wide array of stuff that you see from this bullpen. You have a lot of different arm slots. They have 3 lefties now, I believe, active. Or is it? Yeah, still 3 lefties that are active. They've had as many as 4 in that bullpen at one time. So they can give you a lot of different looks and they're tough to prepare for.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a last place team, right? A 10-16 team. They're 5-5 in their last 10. And things, I mean, you're going up against the big bad Dodgers that are trying to get right at home after having some inconsistent play of late. Shohei Ohtani hasn't been at his best. Mookie Betts had a 3-hit games, looking better offensively than he's been. Defensively, he's really turned things on. He looks like a big league shortstop somehow, some way. But it sounds like this is a Pirates team that's heading into the series on an upswing. But what would you say is the number one biggest key for the Pirates to take 2 out of 3 or even sweep the Dodgers? What do you think is their biggest key to being competitive and winning this series against LA?
They got to get the offense going early. I mean, the last 2 weekends, they've been swept. Now, both of those teams are from Ohio, so maybe it's just a Buckeye State issue with the Pirates now. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, they've really struggled against teams with quality pitching. If you look at the teams that have really shut their offense down, it's been the Rays, it's been the Guardians, it's been the Reds. Those 3 teams are throwing the ball right now, especially, the Reds, I think, still have some of the best pitching numbers in the National League, or at least they did when they entered that series. But they hit the ball well against the Cardinals. They hit the ball well against the Angels. They hit the ball well against the Nationals, the Marlins. Those teams don't have great pitching. Spoiler alert, the Dodgers do, and they're running into the big 3 right now of this rotation. I guess you could, I don't know, that everyone's good in the rotation, so I don't know if it's their best 3. Obviously you got to include Snell in there, but nonetheless, they have to get going early, because once this team starts to press against quality bullpens, they have no shot, and you don't want to waste another quality outing from Paul Skenes, from Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller, they have not scored a run with Mitch Keller on the mound since April 4th.
Wow.
Again, that was their home opener. So his last 3 starts, he's got 0 run support. That cannot happen when you're playing against the Dodgers, a team where Mitch Keller's probably going to allow at least 1 run when he's pitching. Paul Skenes, same thing. You've got to get these guys run support if you want to have any chance at coming out with a series victory and keeping the momentum that you built on the other side of town against the Angels going.
Yeah, we know Mitch Keller is a great pitcher in his own right. He was a trade target for the Dodgers a little bit there before he got that new deal done. Okay, last question here. Why is PNC Park the best ballpark in America outside of Dodger Stadium? Got to be a little biased there, but why is it? Well, why is it really, honestly, the best ballpark in America? I mean, it's so picturesque. The food's there is great. You got the bridge, you got the skyline. It's unbelievable. For anyone that hasn't been there, it is an absolute must visit ballpark in America.
Well, the first thing is you don't have to climb up a mountain to get there like Dodger Stadium, which I love.
Right. You burn off those Dodger dogs, man. You burn off those micheladas.
You really do. Holy cow. I mean, the first time going there last year, I was like, how in the world do you get to this baseball utopia? It's worth it, but my goodness, is it a mission? No, I mean, it's great, man. As someone who grew up in this area, I mean, when I was a kid, the team was bad every single year. It was in the midst of a 20-year stretch of losing seasons. So you could really just pay $12 for a bleacher ticket and sit right behind home plate if you wanted to, because there are only 10,000 people there every day. But I mean, the views are immaculate. I think there is a great deal of history with this franchise, and they do a very good job of honoring that history, be it, through players like Clemente, Stargell, Mazeroski, Honus Wagner, Dave Parker, even to just the teams they have. They have a lot of great stuff on the 71 and 79 and 1960 World Series teams and just different eras of Pirates baseball. They have a wide array of food. There's stuff to do for kids at the ballpark and just the location in general. Like you said, you've got the Clemente Bridge right out there. You've got the Allegheny River running along right behind the right field wall. The dimensions of the park are conducive to what I think is fun baseball. You can get some weird bounces and get some doubles and triples. There's some weird angles in the gaps that can make it tough to hit a home run, but can make for some active gameplay, and just the location in the city too. I mean, you're right down the street from Acrisure Stadium. I still refer to it as Heinz Field because that's what it should be named. You got the casino. You've got a whole bunch of bars and restaurants, hotels, a lot going on around there. I know Pittsburgh isn't necessarily the destination vacation spot for everyone, but if you're a baseball fan and you're looking to go somewhere new, I can't promise that you'll see the most entertaining baseball from the home team side, but you will have a good experience at PNC Park. I can tell you that.
Unbelievable park. Okay, last question here. Who is your favorite Pittsburgh Pirate of all time? And you can't say Honus Wagner. You can't say Roberto Clemente. But no, who's your favorite all-time as a Pittsburgh Pirate?
Well, growing up, it was Jason Bay. That was the guy when I was a kid. I got really into baseball around 2003. The Pirates traded Brian Giles to the Padres for Jason Bay and Oliver Perez. That was a really good trade looking back at it. He won Rookie of the Year in 2004. And it's kind of funny that, I mean, Bay was always my guy until this kid from Florida came along. He had dreadlocks, and he just did everything right in center field. His name's Andrew McCutchen. And it's ironic that I say that because now my job is to interview Andrew McCutchen. He and I have a professional relationship where we've talked about music and just different sports, basketball, football, just everything outside of actual baseball. And it's fun to kind of pinch myself and say like, hey, you wore this guy's jersey to the first day of school your sophomore year. You asked the bus driver to turn on KDKA radio on the way home from a half day so you could listen to his major league debut. And now you have his phone number. Like, that's pretty cool. So being able to build a relationship with him and cover the twilight of his career, it's pretty special. It's one of the cooler things I've got to do throughout my career.
Yeah, no, I totally respect that. I totally know where you're coming from. I had a feeling you were going to say Andrew McCutchen. By the way, I still haven't mustered up the courage to tell Clayton Kershaw that my old dog's name was Kirsch and we called him Kershey. I just don't have I just don't have it in me to tell him that. I'm the same way. I'm almost like, okay, I love the guy, but when he retires, then I feel like I can officially just take the fan cap off and go about my job. But I totally get that, going from big fan to doing this. And yeah, man, we appreciate your insight. Mr. Noah Hiles, you can definitely go follow him on X. Listen to his podcast. Talks all baseball stuff along with the Pirates as well. Writes for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Does an incredible job there. Thank you so much for joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. And yeah, good luck in the series.
Absolutely, Doug. Sorry I couldn't see you out there in LA. Hopefully I'll catch you next time.
That is my man Noah Hiles joining us. We appreciate him. So yeah, guys, tonight, a couple hours away, Dodgers, Pirates at Dodgers Stadium. It's going to be electric. Yeah, Lakers tonight, big sports night in LA, man. The Kings going, Lakers going, Dodgers. Hey, man, this is a great weekend for sports, of course. Yeah, let me know down below who you guys got going deep. I'm taking Shohei Ohtani, man. I got Shohei Ohtani going deep again off of Paul Skenes. I'm going Shohei Ohtani off of Paul Skenes. I'm telling you, man. It's going to be big time. But that's going to do it for this episode. A couple more. We got Nicholas. What is up? We got BC Lakers, four-peat failed. Dodgers were mediocre. Guys having a little sports debate. Awesome. That is going to do it, though, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. I got my man Casey Porter. We talked Dodgers Daily. We talked about Alex Freeland, Hesson Kim, prospects that are coming up, how the bottom of the order should look. So I got my man Casey Porter. I'm going to drop that tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But that's going to do it, guys. Really appreciate it. And as always, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and remember that nothing, absolutely nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.